Hi, this is Coach Colette, host of the Start Within podcast, and welcome to this week's episode of Financial Fridays. Well, yesterday was the first full moon of 2021. It's also nicknamed the full wolf moon, so if you still feel an urge to let out a howl, go for it. So the full moon is a great time for releasing, letting go, and clearing. So think of all of the things that are no longer serving you. And if we connect this to our visioning and setting intentions for the new year, you can think about the full moon in terms of the various aspects of your life. So if you think of the life wheel and think of what are the habits, beliefs, or tasks, or even people that are no longer serving you. And then when you bring it to the life wheel, think about that in terms of your finances. So what limiting beliefs in terms of your finances? What habits in terms of your finances can you let go of? When you think about your health, again, what limiting beliefs can you let go of? What habits can you let go of? And follow that along, thinking about your career. What are some beliefs about your ability to succeed or not can you let go of? Think about your relationships. Are there connections that have served their purpose? People from whom you are no longer gaining. It's no longer a mutually beneficial connection. Thinking about your personal hobbies or desires. What are things that you can let go of because they no longer serve you, or perhaps that you have outgrown? And think about your spiritual beliefs. Are there aspects that have served their purpose, but now it might be time to either move on or set your sights even higher? Now, this week's full moon was in Leo. So it's ironic when you think about the symbol for Leo being the lion and this being the full wolf moon, thinking about how is it that you express yourself? Where is it that you can bring that full roar of the lion, or bring that full howl of the wolf, so to speak? Are there areas where you have been silencing yourself? Areas where you've been holding yourself back? Think about it. How is it that you can open your throat chakra and speak up for what it is that you need? Speak up for what you have accomplished. Speak up for what you desire. These are all some ideas that you can consider. Even though today is the day after the full moon, you can still harness this full moon energy and do some reflection and allow yourself to ask and give yourself permission. What is it that no longer serves you that you would like to clear, let go, and release? That's all for me for now. Get ready and listen up to today's tip from Singh.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Singh, aka Investing, of the Investing Podcast with your weekly Financial Friday tip. Lately, there's been a mania going on in the markets with regards to stocks such as AMC and GameStop. Now, one shouldn't get caught up in this mania as stocks move up and down violently. So now is a good time to check up on your portfolio and see what stocks you own, and hopefully you don't get caught up in the mania. With that said, that is your Weekly Financial Friday tip, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, it's Coach Colette. You may have felt like you just survived 2020. What would it be like to thrive in 2021? Notwithstanding the external forces over which you have no control, what would it be like to make even a small shift this year? Can you imagine what it will be like at the end of this year when you reflect on all that you have created? It is possible when you start within, and I'd like to help you do it. You can visit my website, startwithincoaching.com, and at the top, click Start Here to schedule your complimentary activation call. We can talk about what's going on in your life right now and where you'd like to be. So go to startwithincoaching.com, click Start Here, and let's start your journey within. Hey there, it's time for this week's Unplugged segment. I thought that I would focus on a topic that I don't believe has gotten a lot of airtime on this podcast. And that topic is loneliness. I don't know about you, but I have been solo quarantining, if you will, over the past 10 months during this pandemic, and it has brought me very up close and personal with myself. And I've had to distinguish in many moments feelings of sadness, feelings of loss, feelings of loneliness, and to begin to explore what triggers those feelings inside of me. And also to look at the difference between being alone and being lonely. While there have been surveys conducted and studies conducted amongst Black women and women of color to look at this issue of loneliness. One study among women of color living in North Philadelphia suggested that 70% reported struggling with mental health issues. Many of these women were midlife, between the ages of 35 and 60, and they reported that their loneliness came from a combination of trauma and loss, unhealthy family and romantic relationships, feeling the burden of responsibility, and a lack of supportive relationships. Can anyone say strong Black woman syndrome? For women of color, our loneliness, anxiety, and depression often looks different than for women who are not women of color. And we have to realize that our tears, our grief, our sadness is not greeted with the same level of compassion as the tears, the grief, the loss of our white counterparts. So therefore, we tend to build up a resistance and we don't speak about the things that are bothering us. This is personal for me. I believe I've shared before that I have had trouble asking for help and being vulnerable. And I'm a life coach, so I can only imagine what others are feeling or struggling with in this area. And so I have done some digging to learn some more from myself and, of course, to bring what I am learning to you. I came across the Revised UCLA Loneliness Scale, and it shares 20 statements to consider and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 4, with 1 being never and 4 being often, that you agree or resonate with the statement. I thought I would share some of them with you to allow you to consider them and rate yourself. And the beauty of listening to this in a podcast is that you can do this in the privacy of your own space. So here are some of the statements, and remember, 1 is never, 2 is rarely, 3 is sometimes, 4 is often. I feel in tune with the people around me on a scale of 1 to 4. I lack companionship on a scale of 1 to 4. There is no one I can turn to on a scale of 1 to 4. I do not feel alone on a scale of 1 to 4. I feel part of a group of friends on a scale of 1 to 4. I have a lot in common with the people around me on a scale of 1 to 4. There are people I feel close to on a scale of 1 to 4. There are people I can talk to on a scale of 1 to 4. There are people I can turn to on a scale of 1 to 4. My social relationships are superficial on a scale of 1 to 4. I feel isolated from others on a scale of 1 to 4. I am unhappy being so withdrawn on a scale of 1 to 4. There are people who really understand me on a scale of 1 to 4. So I shared a number of the statements to give a range of perspectives for you to consider. So you may want to write them down and scale yourself. And it's always interesting when I take a look at these scales to think for myself, to think about people around me, and also to think about clients that I may have conversations with. For me, it's been interesting to note that my social relationships have changed, and I'm sure many of us have had that same experience, where I've noticed that I have developed newer connections with people virtually because of the pandemic. And then there are some people with whom I had, quote, in real life connections that have kind of faded away because the circumstances in which we used to interact have disappeared. I also have realized that I am one of the only people in my close network and also family who is solo quarantining, who has been alone for the past 10 months. It has been interesting discussing that with family, with friends, and having varying degrees of understanding, partly because none of them are in that same situation as myself. And I always believe in this knowledge is power. And while many of these moments have been difficult and have been challenging, it is from the breakdowns that we can experience our breakthroughs. I must say that I have become more comfortable with being alone and with being by myself just because I've had to. And I've become better at doubling down on my mindfulness practices, really examining my self-talk and being really aware of when I'm being hard on myself or harsh on myself. The one area where I know I still need to grow is being more vulnerable and speaking up and asking for support or creating space where I can share what's going on with me with others. So I hope that this segment is helpful for you. I hope that you have some aha moments. I hope that you allow yourself this time to reflect and to ponder and to consider. And then identify what supports do you need to put in place to help yourself navigate these ever-changing times. And if you have thoughts or you want to share anything, remember that you can always send us a voice message through the Anchor platform, or you can tweet me or hit me up on Instagram, and now I'm on TikTok, to share your thoughts and ideas. Take care, be well, and we'll be speaking again soon. So what is your takeaway from this week's Financial Fridays segment? What might you do differently around your money and your mindset? For more financial advice, you can check out Suki's podcast, Invest Singh, where I also share tips on his Wellness Wednesdays segment. If you enjoyed this episode and haven't already subscribed, you can do so on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Coach_Colette for more inspiration on personal growth and wellness. Tune in next Friday for another episode, and get ready to start within to finish strong.